Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to my students. All right, uh, so I'm hoping all of you are in the pink of health. Right, we are back again with another English lesson with me. Okay, I'm sorry about this husky voice. I'm not feeling well these few days. Okay, due to the COVID-19. All right, um, but here we go again. We are going to have this class. Okay, so for this lesson, I'm going to focus on exposing you to the real format of speaking based on the real format of PT3 speaking test. Okay, so we did a lot of speaking activity in class, right? We did on individual, and then we did most of the time we did it in pairs. Okay, for today's focus, we are going to look at the real format of PT3. What are actually out there in the PT3 format? Okay, so I'm going to explain to you after this. Okay, so stay tuned to until the end of this lesson. Right now, let's have a look. Okay, again, welcome students to my YouTube channel. Okay, so here I'm sharing a lot of information regarding English. Okay, all right. So I'm going to expose you a little bit on the speaking format based on PT3. Okay, why it is crucial and important for you to be exposed to the speaking test. Okay, as you all know, English is the second language in Malaysia, and actually, English is the language that being used by many countries. Okay, so basically, speaking test it is to measure your competency in speaking English language, and then the real reason behind this is to expose yourself to the outside real communication. Where at the end of the schooling years, you are going to meet people from, for examples, when you are going to apply for university or when you already admitted to university, you are going to use English often. And then when you are in the when you are working after this, you are going to use English to speak with your colleague, for examples, your boss. So this speaking activity or speaking task is being integrated to English language so that you are able not only be good in writing, reading and listening, but you are also fluent in speaking. Okay, we want to produce more students that are able to speak English language, not only on paper itself. Okay, because some students they are very good in writing, but when it comes to speaking they have the difficulties to speak. Why this is happening? Because you are not exposed too much on the speaking activity or speaking test. And the last one is to build up your confidence. Okay, most of the students they are afraid to talk because they thought that when they speak English, people will laugh at them when they make mistake. Actually, it doesn't matter if you make mistake. Even me myself, I also do mistakes. Okay, but actually we learn from the mistakes that we make. So don't be afraid to make mistakes because the mistakes are going to help you to be better in the future. Right? For example, in the speaking test itself, you have to be good in speaking for you to be able to build up your confidence level. Right? So I have explained a little bit the importance of having the speaking format. Alright, so now let's have a look at what are being tested in PT3 speaking tests. Okay, as as usual, we already did a few of activities in class. For example, we did on. Okay, sorry about the interruption just now. What are being tested in PT3 speaking test? Okay, we already did a few of activities in class. Okay, but I did not mention to you that these are the formats of PT3. Okay, so all the activities that we did for speaking activity in class are going to be tested in the uh, speaking test, right? So how many parts are there in the speaking test of PT based on the PT3 format? There are basically three parts. Okay, sorry. Okay, part one is the introductions of the test. In the introductions of the test of part one, you are going to be asked by the interlocutors, okay, about yourself. For example, what is your name? Where do you live? How do you go to schools? What is your daily routine after you are coming back from schools? What is your hobby? So these kinds of questions are going to be asked in the part one. So you have to stand out to the interlocutors and the assessor for them to be able that to see that you can speak very well here. So you have to be very firm and clear when you speak later, right? So that is part one. Part one is basically asking about your personal details. How do you go to schools? Is relatedly about you, okay? And then in the part two, is still the individual task, but you have to briefly explain on the story based on the pictures that are given to you. Okay, usually in part two, the interlocutors will give you five pictures, okay, on the question booklet, and then you are going to analyze the pictures, and then after that you are given time in about 1 minute, right, to talk about the pictures that you saw. Okay, so during this part you have to think, you have to analyze the pictures carefully, look at the pictures, and then you have to tell the story based on the pictures given to you. Okay, in these parts you have to use uh, your capabilities in analyzing the pictures and tell based on the sequence of the pictures. Sorry about that. Okay, part three. So basically in part two, they will give you sets, uh, two different sets. For the first one, for the first candidate, they will give another pictures, and then for candidate B, they will give another set of pictures. Okay, so in during this part, you have to listen attentively to your friends talking about the pictures, right? Because you are going to be asked later, once your friend has finished uh, explaining about the story, or telling about the story, you are going to be asked by the interlocutors about the pictures, right? There is questions that you are going to be asked by the interlocutors, right? So, and then you are the candidate B will be given another set of pictures, and the same goes to candidate A. You are going to listen to candidate B explaining about the story, and later you are going to be asked, okay, by the interlocutors. Right, in part three, this is where both of you are going to be tested together. Okay, both of you are given some helping words. You are given situations, Okay, and then you are given some stimulus, okay, for you to talk, and then in about 2 minutes you are going to talk about the things that are going to be asked by the you are going to discuss together. Sorry, you are going to discuss together with your partner. Okay, so both of you are going to talk together. You are going to take turns in having the conversation. So here, in this part, you are going to discuss. Okay, you have to show that you really uh, know how to communicate with your partner. Okay, both of you have to speak together. Okay, so there is here the most important thing is you have to take turns in talking to your friends. Okay, so basically part 3 is about discussion with your partner or with your friends on that day. All right, so lessons for today. In this lesson you are going to do the speaking activity for part 1 and part 2 individually, right? However, for part 3 you are going to discuss in pairs. Right. I'm going to roughly tell you what are actually the situations in the speaking test itself. Okay, so basically, you are going to enter the the test. You are going to be in the room. Okay, in front of you is the interlocutors. Interlocutor will ask questions. And then another one is the assessor. The assessor, usually they will only listen to you and they will award marks. Okay, for the interlocutors, they are going to ask you questions and they also will award you marks. Okay, next to each other, okay, during the test, okay, you and your friends are going to sit next to each other. Okay, so every speaking test there will be two candidates. In front of the candidate is the interlocutors, and on the on on the right side is the assessor. Okay, so for part 1 and part 2 you have to answer individually, right? But for part 3 you have to work together to discuss in pairs. Okay, so here have a look at part 1. Okay, as I have explained to you before, part 1 is about introducing yourself. Okay, so I want you to send me the voice recording on these questions. I want it to come out spontaneously from you and not being scripted. Okay, please don't write the script for these questions, because later on I'm going to show to you the real speaking test format. Okay, but for the time being, please uh, answer the questions with whatever that you know. Okay, because in speaking test it testing you what you know. Okay, so you have to speak what you know. Okay, don't speak something else that you don't know. Okay, because that are going to be risky to you. So and don't memorize scripts. Okay, because that is not speaking, that is reading. Okay, so I want you to be able to speak without the script. How you're going to speak without script? Okay, so you have to practice. Okay, by practice only you can speak without the script. Okay, so I want you to send me recording of your voice note. uh, what is your name? What is your hobby? What do you normally do during the weekend? Do you love schools or not? What is your daily routine after coming back from school? And the last one is, do you love music? Why? Right? So send the recording, okay, to my personal telegram. Don't write the scripts yet. Please try to speak spontaneously. Alright, that is part one. Okay, part two. Okay, in part two, okay, this is an example that I took from the Lembaga Peperiksaan Malaysia (LPM). This is the example of the questions for part two, right? You will be given these pictures in part two. Okay, task 1A. You are given five pictures. So what you need to do is look at the pictures carefully. Then in 1 minute, in 1 minute, tell us a story. Okay, sorry about the mistake here. Then in 1 minute, tell us a story. Okay, so you have to analyze all the pictures here. Okay, so we have five pictures. The first pictures is about a girl, blah blah. Okay, and then you have to tell a story. Remember, when you tell a story, it should be in past tense. Right, now I want you to send the recording of these about I want you to send the recording of you explaining about the story. Tell me the story, okay, based on the pictures that you have analyzed. Right, so that is part two, 1A. Right, here, another one, I want you to look at the pictures here, okay? Um, this is the same as the previous one, okay, because we have part 2 task 1A here, okay, and we have part 2 task 1B, okay. So as I mentioned before, in the speaking test itself, the candidate A will get task 1A, okay, here, and then the candidate A will explain about this story, and candidate B at that time are going to listen to candidate A telling the story, because at the end of part 2, for candidate A, B also will be asked questions. Okay, so this is for candidate A. Candidate A will explain about these pictures, and then candidate B will look at the pictures carefully. Then in 1 minute, candidate B will explain about the story and tell the story. Okay, so I'm going to let you choose. Either you are going to talk about task 1A, or you want to talk about task 1B. Okay, but you have to choose one only, one task only. Okay, either 1A or 1B. Okay, record and send to my telegram. Right now, part 3. So basically, this is happening in part 3. Okay, once you have finished with the explaining about the story in part 2, you are given this, okay, you are given this helpful stimulus that you are going to use to talk during the discussion. In part 3, your task is to discuss. Okay, discuss with your partner. Okay, so candidate A will discuss with candidate B about the situations that the interlocutor has given to you. Right. So, in this part 3, I would like you to talk about something together, discuss in pairs what are the things that students should bring on the camping trip. At the end of the conversation, decide which one of the items is the most important thing that you should bring to camping. Okay, so in about 2 minutes, you are going to discuss with your partner, right? Which are the items that you want to talk and which are the items that your partner are going to talk. Okay, so you have to divide equally and decide. For example, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about snack and sweets. I want to talk about a map, and I want to talk about a torch. Okay, so you have to decide, and you have to talk. For example, you are going to start with, hi Alisa. Okay, so hi Siti. Okay, so do you know that we are going to go for a camping trip this evening? Okay, this evening. Sorry, you are going to go to camping uh, with me. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, so in this part, you are going to divide the items equally between both of you. For example, we have here is 7 items. Maybe you only will talk about 3 items per candidates, and the candidate B will talk about 3 items. Okay, for example, you want to talk about what should students bring on the camping trip. So you're going to start with, hi Alisa, hi Siti, uh, hello Siti. So do you know that we are going to go to a camping this weekend? Okay. Yes, I know about that, City. What are the things that we should bring to the camping trip, City? For example, I'm sorry I'm messing up with names because of due to this. I'm not well today, and I took some medicines. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so basically that is happening, so you have to take turns in talking, and then you are going to explain a little bit. At the end of it, you have to decide which one of the item is the most important thing that you should bring to camping. At the end of it, decide which one is the best item, right? I think that's all for today. Okay, that's all for today's activity, this lesson. So I'm hoping all of you can do all the tasks. Okay, and please try to speak spontaneously, because this is going to show uh, whether you can speak or not. Okay, because speaking actually it's a matter of practice. Okay, because when you are lack of practice, you have the difficulties in speaking. Okay, because you don't frequently use the language, you are not going to be good in speaking. Okay, if you want to be good in speaking, you have to speak a lot. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you, class. I'm sorry about I'm sorry about the interruption just now, and about the mismatch of informations that I shared with you. I'm sorry about that. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know on the comment below, and don't forget to uh, share whatever that you think about speaking. Okay, okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you, class, and have fun and take care. Okay, bye bye. Assalamualaikum.